Hello and welcome to 2020 Donald Trump versus Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke is a younger Democrat, I would say, with he's very far left, and he's very popular along Hispanic voters and young voters. He narrowed Texas race more than expected, and Ted Cruz won it around a 3%. So he's going to face off Trump in this video. We're actually going to adjust some of these states a bit, so I think Oregon would not be safe. It would just probably be around 13-14%. Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Rhode Island. And then Maine 2nd District, I would say that would actually be toss-up. But Colorado would be in the likely, and New Mexico in the likely. And then we're going to move Ohio into likely and Iowa into likely. And there it's better adjusted. We're going to first look into the state of Texas. We're going to first look at the 2018 midterm elections. Beto O'Rourke got 48.3% of the vote compared to Ted Cruz's almost 51%. And he did very well in the big suburbs. But then when you look at Trump, he did about the same in here, Beto O'Rourke. But Trump won this district and this district. These two are very important for a lot of the vote, because it would be very hard for a Republican to win these four big areas, actually. It's possible, but it's probably not going to happen. But with the suburbs around these areas, usually toss-up or lean Republican, and Beto O'Rourke narrowing them out. I think that it would be tighter than 2016, with Trump getting 52.2% of the vote and Clinton getting 43.2%. I could see this more as a 4.5 to 5%, just under 5%. I could see this, so not Oklahoma. So Texas is in the lean column. We're going to move over to the House map. And we're going to look at the state of Arizona. Arizona had one district flip. In the Senate race also it flipped. In the governor race it stayed in the Republican column by around 13%. Trump won Arizona by around 3%. Chris Sinema won it around a 1.5%. So this is actually a very hard state to figure out because there's a high Latino population here. But Trump did win it by 3%, and this one district flipped. But in the governor race, it stayed in the Republican column by a huge amount of votes. So I am actually... this is going to be very narrow. This is going to be around 1 to 1.5% for Trump. I would say you'd still hold on to it narrowly. It'd be a lot closer than 2016, but I don't know if Beto O'Rourke could carry it over the line. We're going to move over to the state of Georgia. Georgia has a higher African-American base there. So, and Beto O'Rourke doesn't do as good along that race. So I don't know if he could do too well in Georgia. This could actually be an improvement for Trump in 2020. So even though it was very close in the governor race, around 1%, like 0.5%, and Trump winning it by around 6.5%, I could still say it would be in the likely column by like 5.5%. I would say it narrowed down 1%. We're going to move over to the state of North Carolina. Every district so far has stayed the same. This one looks like it's going to go to the Republicans. There was no Senate or governor race, so we're going to just indicate with the House race with the majority of the state going to the Republicans, and in 2016, Trump winning it by around 4%. I could still say this would go to the Republican column with not a huge base of Hispanic voters there, so it would be very hard for Beto O'Rourke to flip this state. Now Trump has a lead compared to Beto O'Rourke. We're going to move over to the state of Florida. This one would also be very close. You could see this in the 2018 midterm, but this should have been a blue wave year for them. So in the governor and the Senate race, and for the Senate race flipping to the Republicans is very surprising during this time. And in the governor race staying nearly in the Republican column. Trump won the state by around 1.5%. And with the high Hispanic vote here, it'd be possible for Beto O'Rourke to flip this, but with the 2018 midterms indicating that it would still stay in the Republican column. Why does this thing keep moving around? The map keeps going up and down, so I keep clicking it. I clicked Florida and it clicked North Carolina. So now Trump is, 12 electoral votes away from being reelected. We're going to look at the Nebraska 2nd District. So it was 2% win for the Republicans there. It's definitely a lot narrower than it was in 2016 with Trump winning it by around, I think it was 8%. And for that to narrow down by that much, it's very, very possible for Beto O'Rourke to flip it. And I think that's actually possibly doable here. So I'm going to actually give the first flip in this race to Beto O'Rourke in Nebraska's 2nd District. This could really go either way because it shows that big of a shift in 2018's midterms. Imagine 2 more years, it would probably even be tighter. I don't know. This is it. I'm going to have to come back to this because that's very, very hard to say where that would go. We're going to go to Maine's 2nd Congressional District. This is so surprising to me that the Republican still leads and they have it in the Democrat column. But Trump did win this district by around 10%, and it usually goes along with the economy and more conservative. And Trump did very well there, so even though in 2018 there was a shift, I think that it still could go to the Republican column. So now Trump is 11 electoral votes away from being reelected. We're going to move to the state of New Hampshire. New Hampshire stayed in the Democratic column in the House race, and in the governor it's went to the Republicans. This race should have been a little bit tighter than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be around a 3% win for the Democrats there, but I was very surprised. So that's a shift there, so I could say this goes to the Democrats again. We're going to move to Maine at large, with Maine's 1st Congressional District voting way heavier than Maine's 2nd Congressional District in 2018. And same with 2016, them overwhelmingly voting. Even though Trump did a huge flip there, he flipped a lot of Democrats, or got a lot of independents to flip there. But with this coastline here, the Democrats get tons of votes here, and if this area is going to be shifting a little bit more towards the Democrats, I could see this definitely staying in the Democratic column around a 3%. 222 to 259. We have, if Trump wins if he wins Nebraska's 2nd congressional district in one of these states, he will be reelected. We're going to start off with the state of Minnesota. Excuse me. Clinton won the state around 2%. In 2018 midterms, 2 areas flipped to the Republicans and 2 to the Democrats. Stayed in both the areas in the Senate race and went to the Democrats in the governor race. And this state is trending a little bit more Democratic, more and more, it seems. Even though in 2016 there was a huge shift from 2012, almost every district except the Minneapolis area going more Democrat. So I'm going to put this in the Democratic column again. 232 to 259. We're going to go to the state of Michigan. We're going to go to Michigan. 2 districts flipped here. I actually predicted that correctly. So these were areas that Clinton won, and there was a little bit more Democratic here than I expected. And in the Senate race, it went to the Democrats, but it was closer than expected. I thought it was going to be a 3% win for Debbie Stabenow, John James. John James did really good still compared to a popular Democrat. And it was in the governor race. It flipped to the Democrats by a huge margin. So I think that indicates a Democratic flip. Even though Beto O'Rourke isn't as good with the white working class, he is good with those younger voters, and even though there's not a huge amount of Hispanics in Michigan, I think he still could do very well. 248, 259. We're going to move to the state of Wisconsin. We're going to go to Wisconsin. So every district stayed in the Republican column that they had before. Even Paul Ryan's seat held very well by around 12%. There was a flip in the governor race, but in the Senate race, stayed in the Democratic column, a little narrower than expected. But the shift in the governor race, even though that shows a slight move to the Democratic column, and Trump winning it by 0.7%, or around 20,000 votes, I'd still say he could win this because Beto O'Rourke can't really appeal to the white working class, even though there's the young voters and the Hispanic voters. But there's even less Hispanic voters in Wisconsin compared to Michigan. So I think that Trump could definitely hold on to Wisconsin. He has 1 electoral vote from being reelected, so he needs Nebraska's 2nd or Pennsylvania to win. We're going to move to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, this was the biggest out of the big 3 that he won, around 50,000 votes. In the House race, there was, could I zoom in here? There was 4 Democratic flips and 1 Republican flip. This is an important district here to hold on to because this is a huge steel mill area in Pennsylvania, and Trump didn't even win this area, so this is surprising to the Republicans held on to it, even though I guess that they were going to hold on to it as well. But this area, and this area all went to Clinton in 2016. But with this area and Pennsylvania's 14 in District 1, going to the Republicans is very good. So if you look here in 2016, Trump lost by 3,000 votes, but the Republicans won there by 8,000 votes this time. I could see the Republicans definitely holding on to it. Trump could definitely hold on to Pennsylvania with the appeal to the white working class and the people who've lost their a lot of their jobs in Pennsylvania. Beto O'Rourke's not as good with attaching to those kinds of voters. And with some steel mills coming back, this could really appeal to some new voters in Pennsylvania. Old voters that didn't vote for him or voted for Clinton could actually shift to Trump. So I think he could possibly even expand to around 1% there. We're going to go down to Nebraska's 2nd district. So I was thinking about this a lot, and I think that the Republicans will hold on to it. There's not a huge Hispanic base there. It would be close, probably around 2% as well from 2018. But because in the midterms, they more vote on approval, the main elections more vote on the economy mostly, and the economy is currently in a very good direction. And in the poll, it was like 68% of people said it was doing good in 2018 midterms, and 20% said it was bad, and I think like it was very small amount of people who said the economy was doing bad. So I think this would be a re-election for Trump with 290 electoral votes to Beto O'Rourke's 248 electoral votes. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe the video.